of the Houghton City Council for Wednesday, July 14th. Would everybody please stand and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next item is the roll call, and everyone is present at this meeting. Review and approval of the agenda. We will go then with what's before us. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to address the council at this time? Would you just come up and identify yourself?
My name is Mary Kaminsky. I'm a resident of Houghton. Is this on? Yes. Okay. I'm just going to give you an update on the Vernomized Triathlon.
Okay.
Where we are. I visited most of the businesses last week in town, and I told them I'd be back tomorrow to see if they'd be interested in providing a perk to the triathletes that come into their store after the race. 5 businesses automatically signed up. They love the idea and they love what we're doing. And I possibly have 2 racers out of it too. So here's what that looked like. Pass it around. Focus right now is on the canal run, which obviously makes sense. So I asked Angela Luskin if I could put information in the racer's bag, because it's like-minded people. And she said, absolutely. So I took this over to them today. You can just sort of pass that around. Any idea how many races are in the canal run? Any idea how many copies I had to make? Anyone want to take a guess?
500, 1,800.
800. 750.
Oh.
We have a winner, which doesn't mean we're going to get that kind of turnout. Even if we get 10% of that, we're going to need a bigger lift. Anyway, no, we won't. Angela also sent me a list of signs that we can use in our triathlon. So that is very helpful. We're going to have like race in progress signs, and there's a couple of them that we can use. We had our police, sheriff, and city meeting to cover concerns, and actually the signage came out of that meeting, and a lot of other good information. We have our buoy, and thanks to Eric for help with the depth question, and he also is going to find me a tent for registration. Thanks for all your help. And clarification on the beautification picture that was in the paper last week. I appreciate David selecting it, it just did not transfer well. So I want to show you that there was seriously a rainbow of colors. And just a thanks again to the beautification and the rainbow of colors. It's almost in the spectrum of the colors too. And Bubba, you have that going on up on the hill with those big lilies.
Yeah, I have pictures of that.
I took one this morning, yep. So anyway, thanks again to the beautification. And if you have any questions on the triathlon, any of you? Again, the focus right now is on Saturday with the canal run. I know that, so we'll see how it turns out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the council at this time? All right, moving along. Petitions and communications.
Yes, we have a letter from Joan Borges of Houghton. Last week, an older gentleman from Orris Island in Washington was walking in front of my house. He asked me, where is the Carnegie Museum? I told him. We chatted for a moment before he left to meet his friend at the museum. He told me he attended the University of Michigan many years ago and had never been to the UP. He said Houghton was a friendly town and he loved it here. He repeated the people here are very friendly and welcoming. I received an email from him today, and this is what he wrote. It was a great morning to meet you that morning in my absolute favorite town in the UP. Good job, Houghton.
I have another comment about that gentleman. I met them at the backside of the Douglas House and spent an hour and a half with them talking about the history of Houghton. And they emailed me back pictures of Washington State and pictures they had taken. It was great. They were just 2 older gentlemen that made up here. And they love Joan.
Who doesn't?
Right, if you don't love Joan. So.
Yeah, that's probably.
All right. Very good. All right. At this time then, I will call to order a public hearing regarding proposed ordinance 2021-321.
No, this proposed ordinance is for rezoning of the described property that was in your packets. Radio check. This proposed ordinance is for rezoning a property, which was, a portion of which was, or I guess, a larger portion of which was previously rezoned this past winter. There was a diagram in the packet that was all available online, and what is being requested right now is to rezone two of those parcels, parcel B and parcel C as they're referred to on that map, from B2 with conditions to reserve. And this is, presumably for development as a campground and resort-ish sort of place. I'm gonna stress the word ish, it's not a resort, it's a campground, cabins, that type of use. As reserve, we don't have another zoning designation in which that type of use is allowable. So, I guess with that, I would open up the public comment.
That's still taxable, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience who would like to comment regarding this public hearing?
I'm Mr. Bradley's attorney. I'd like to address the council. I don't know if that's appropriate now or when you take it up as an agenda item.
Right now.
Right now.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for considering this rezoning this evening. In your packet, you will find an analysis I provided to the Planning Commission that looks at all of the 17 factors that must be considered when the council is considering a rezoning like this. I'm not going to bore you to death going through all 17 of them, I promise. But there are really two that I do want to discuss with you, partially because, as you know, the prior rezoning sort of set off a flurry of things, including phone calls to me about the legality of it and on and on. But anyway, the first factor is whether the proposed amendment is compatible with the existing uses of the property around the area now. This factor and also factor 6, which goes to the compatibility of the proposal with the master plan. I really commend Mr. Bradway on working with the neighbors in that area, particularly Mr. Bodemeyer, who I'm fairly sure you all met before during the first go-around, to really ensure that this use of the campground is an appropriate use in relation to the neighborhood, and it is much more compatible than the B2 in looking at the master plan. In fact, the master plan contemplates specifically a reserve zoning along the canal, and as Mr. Ward said, it is actually the only zoning designation that allows a campground type facility at all. So I think this is an excellent use of that property given its location and the environmental challenges that it already has. It's not as if you're giving up wilderness or something like that to create a use that I understand is in quite high demand. And it's agreeable to the neighbors, which is not a small matter for the council to consider. So I'd be happy to answer any legal questions you may have about the proposal. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak at this time at this public hearing? Sure, why don't you come on up and identify yourself?
Craig Waddell, Houghton, and I think the letter I sent earlier is in your agenda. I guess that's maybe all I can say, that if you've seen it, that's what I support this. I think it's a good idea. I like the idea of the boardwalk and possibly a way to connect that, because I've been interested in walkability for a long time. I think that was a really good idea. As I said, Ms. Halley is well known in the area for her advocacy for environmental protection. I think that the fact that she feels it's environmentally sound, some of the letters, the two letters that Ms. Widener sent earlier, I think answer some of the concerns that were raised earlier. I guess that's about it. The folks that stay in the campground would come downtown to shop, especially if they can walk, which avoids additional parking needs downtown as well. So.
Thank you. Is Is there anybody else who would like to address the council at this public hearing? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay. Is there support? Okay, move support to close this public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. This public hearing is closed. Moving on then to reports, city manager.
I'll start off with Public Works. We've had it's summertime, so we've got quite a few people off and on vacation with Public Works, so we're actually operating with a partial crew most weeks here, but they've still managed to get a lot of things done. They've been ditching on West Jacker. That area had been ditched out years ago and kind of needed some help, so they were able to get around that. We did, it's kind of amazing, since we last met, we had that fuel spill and all those things to deal with, and they had actually done a lot of work to get our beach cleaned up after that. What's called the environmental response company provided a truck. We actually removed some of our beach sand, so we didn't have to wait for Mother Nature to take care of some of that with the 4th of July weekend coming and everything else. So it was nice. Everybody worked together. They brought us a truck. We brought an end loader down there, and then we just resanded part of the beach and got everything cleaned up. And that's kind of, for the last several reports I've seen, everything's got pretty much a clean bill of health on the waterway, which is nice to see. We added some storm pipe on Ravine Side Drive, just some spots where we needed it. We had budgeted some work up in those neighborhoods, and they're going to start working their way through those. Ravine Side was one of the first. They'll be doing some work on Oak Grove Parkway and Brookside. At our time, remembering that for a second, but on Brookside and as well as up the hill. Over the summer here, they actually did a little bit of work in the skate park where there was some landing areas in the skate park which we had originally put in wood to get them open, and they were getting kind of beat up, so we actually redid them in concrete. We've got some really talented folks that were able to do that concrete work, so that should last us a lot longer there. We had a couple of water and sewer services to retire up on Old Houghton Avenue up there, so they got those done. And we finally started replacing the roof on the water plant. Again, we've got the people that can accomplish that, and I was just amazed at what they got done in one day. As long as the rain stays away, we'll get that banged out and get the roof replaced on there. And then they've also been doing some brushing on the waterfront trail and roadside areas throughout town, because it's kind of amazing. Some years seems like we don't see that need until sometime in August when things start to hang down, and for whatever reason it feels like we're a month ahead on some things this year. I just hope that doesn't mean some things come fall, but so they've been also working on that. I just want to plant a seed right now. I was talking to Ryan at Public Works about some equipment needs and then our capital improvement budget, and he came to me with a list, and I said, okay, I'm going to broach this. I will get the council a memo on this for the next meeting, but he would like to get things ordered now because of the supply chain issues and how long things take to arrive in this current climate we're in. So for the next council meeting, he's got a list of about $130,000 for 4 pieces of equipment that we're planning to buy over the next year. But if we don't order them now, we might not have the dump truck box till next winter type of thing. So those sorts of things. So I'll get a memo to you for the next meeting on that. Other than that, we applied for that water-related infrastructure grant through NEDC. We got a letter of intent from them, or letter of interest from them. And so that's the first hurdle. So we passed the first hurdle there, so we'll continue to work through that process. That was for work on Baraga and Prospect with a significant grant component. So that's looking good. Hate to say it, but the bridge work is going to start up again next week. I don't know if people have seen the sign in Franklin Square reminding everybody that the bridge work is going to start up. So unfortunately, we're going to add an extra traffic hiccup to everything we've got going on here, but the work's got to get done. Also, We've got, our contract is coming due with Waste Management. I have a renewal proposal from them. I haven't had a chance to review it yet, and I'll get that before the council at the next meeting. They sent a proposal via email. I want to read through that and read through the current contract and do some comparisons and things like that. But the conversation I had with them was, no major changes, but of course I want to read it first and run it by the council. Pilgrim River, the bridge, they're waiting on the pile driving equipment to show up. That's the one thing we're waiting on. They've got all the abutment work pretty much buttoned up on there to get that bridge open, but they gotta get a pile driving rig there to drive some piles to re-support that bridge. So I don't know what else to say, but we're waiting on that right now. And it's a DNR contract, and we're just kind of waiting to see the trails open. So. But it's expected to start in the next couple of weeks, and I think I said that a couple of weeks ago, but that's why we're waiting for the pile driving equipment. Huron Creek, the new box culvert is 100% installed. It's not finished, but it's installed. So now they're gonna start working on bringing the grade back up and getting the abutments on both ends put in, so that should be coming to a close, and I think that's none too soon for any of us. So one thing DPW started this week, and they're going to be working on in the coming weeks, they're going to be doing a bit more detailed inspection on the underside of the parking deck. I know there was a little bit of press coverage about this stuff down here. Most of that material, pretty much all of that material is the patches which were installed, 5 years ago, five and 6 years ago. And we want to make sure that there's nothing else loose up there. So these were the ones they could get to from the ground. They're actually going to get under there with the bucket truck and or the snorkel lift and poke around, mark things. And then once we've got those things marked, we're going to have a structural engineer just take a quick look at everything. But what things appear to be right now are the patches themselves. It's just, they don't last forever. So met with some folks from Rotary about the dog park. They call them dog park champion, as I'm calling this person. They're working on their fundraising plan right now. They'd like to look at a phased dog park. Get a dog park, some expansion, some additions and that. So continue to work on that with them. We've got music on the deck at the corner of Isle Royal and Sheldon again tomorrow night. Annie, Mari, and friends will be there tomorrow night from 7 to 9, and hope people can get out. It's been pretty well attended the last couple of times and a lot of fun. It's lots of music in downtown. Just as another thing, haven't really heard anything on the short-term rental bills that I know I was sending some emails out asking people to get a hold of our representative and our senator on those. All news on that seems to have dried up, so I'm hoping they're going to take the summer off and rethink this whole thing and maybe put some good legislation forth in the fall. But I am planning to give our state rep a call on that just to see where it is, because I just can't find any information out there. And then, might have mentioned this a couple meetings ago, we've been meeting, we the city, have been meeting with Mary from Hancock and the Chamber about doing some kind of event at the end of the summer, even if it's fireworks at the end of the summer. Kind of a working title for this is, end summer with a boom type of thing. Looking around Labor Day and actually both cities preliminarily pledged to assist in the price of fireworks, and I was going to ask the council for, we'd like to see how we can split this up equitably, but leeway to spend $2,000 to $4,000 from civic betterment, along with the chamber and the chamber and the city of Hancock to put on something, and then hopefully do some sort of a tie-in with our local businesses, of maybe a major takeout night or something like that, just to kind of end summer with a boom. I guess if somebody wanted to make a motion on that, I would take it now.
I will make a motion to $2,000
2 to 4. We're still looking at how to split that.
from the TV franchise account?
No, that would be from Civic Betterment.
Civic and Betterment.
Much better choice, and I support that.
There you go.
Okay, so, for the motion and support to allow between $2,000 to $4,000 from civic improvement.
Civic Betterment.
Civic- I was trying to improve it.
Old habits die hard.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion?
Sounds great.
We poll accounts?
McGowan,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
Salo,
Yes.
Suits,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirzai.
Yes.
All right, that passes.
Okay, I just got, actually 11 more things.
Okay.
But I did manage to find 10 good things going on in Houghton, and actually I added a 11th one here, but it's nice to see, it's nice enough outside. Officer Kinnunen has been out on bike patrol. I don't know how I feel about a police officer in bike shorts, but it's nice they can get out there. We got four more new murals this week, and Public Works is getting those prepped for putting up. We've been in contact with a couple of organizations interested in a couple of running events this fall, probably around Parade of Nations and maybe into October, so thought that would put a smile on one face here. So we had our pre-charrette workshop the week before the 4th, and we learned a lot of things and tools we can use in the future. From the flower front, the daisies have started to take over, and pretty much all those daisies people see planted in those city gardens were donated daisies. We have ice cream on Sheldon again, thanks to Black Ice. So we've got ice cream down at Kestner Park, and we got it back downtown again. We got a clean audit from MDOT on our trunk line maintenance contract, thanks to Cleo and Ann and Jody. As when they do those numbers, we got the letter back that we got a clean audit. We had people dancing on the streets again last night, polka this time, like the one I saw. So you can go down to the Portage Lake District Library after the meeting and hula hoop if you want to. There's hula hoops out there for people to use, and I guess they've been getting some good use. We are now redevelopment ready certified. Of course, there was a press release on that last week. That's a bit of good news. And I added item 11 because Lieutenant Roberts rescued a tortoise. And I'm gonna let Chief Donnelly explain that. I don't know where you want to slip that in your report, but I'll put it towards the end. Okay.
Eric, I got one thing for you.
Yes, sir.
The blacktopping over in West Houghton came out really well, where they put in the new water sewer and everything. Can you kind of update us or the public on what else is going to get blacktop
Well, we have-
covered? I know you did up by Tech.
Yeah, that was separate from our
Yeah.
blacktopping project. That was a
Yeah.
maintenance project. We did bid out that paving job, which we approved a couple of meetings
Right.
ago. We're actually, we're gonna be getting into a pre-construction meeting, on that with Baco. I know Ryan's been out there marking limits for them in that. So, we will be seeing a lot more paving in town this year. It's gonna be crush and shape, so it's not gonna be an overlay. It's gonna be a crush and shape, which actually lasts a lot longer than a straight overlay.
Okay.
And, I can't recall exactly which streets those are
That's
right off the
fine.
bat,
No.
but we do have, so we've got the paving project, we've got our paving project going on. Of course, we've got the Sharon Avenue project going on there right here on Creek. You've got Peepsaw Creek, you've got the Pilgrim River Bridge, then you've got College Avenue, the bridge, and then you've got phase 2 is pretty much finished up for water sewer anyway, so that's one thing we can kind of put in the can and not be glad it's over because, but that one's finally finished, so. But there's still gonna be a lot going on. We kind of hit that halfway point now, and still got a lot of work to do between now and the time snow flies. Then as far as the pier, we've also got a pre-construction meeting coming next week. We're gonna have a pre-construction meeting. From that, we should have a schedule, kind of a sequence of work, and then we can start to get some of the logistics figured out, because when you get to means and methods, when you're building a project of that type of a scope, you can't dictate that to the contractor. You have to let them, this is what I want, you tell me how you're gonna build it type of thing. So once they explain how they plan to build it, then we can start working on parking logistics and all those things as it goes along. So by the time, hopefully by the time we get to the next meeting, we'll have some more information on that.
Very good, thank you.
All right, anything else for Eric? All right, then moving along, police department.
All right, our department took 178 calls for service. During that time, we made 20 misdemeanor arrests. We issued out 22 civil infractions. We handled 12 accidents, and we had 19 calls for health and safety. Okay, I said our calls are back up to running the same as they did pre-COVID, and the guys have been busy, especially in July. A lot of people in town. Activity has been high. We did have a legal update here. The prosecutor from Marquette County, Matt Weesey, came up and gave us a legal update, which was right here at Michigan Tech, and that's Officer Kennan also went to a precision driving class that was held up here too. So it's always nice when we don't have to travel out of town for that kind of training. Yesterday afternoon, a gentleman came to our front window and put a turtle into the front window and said he found it on the road, and he was sure that it wasn't just an ordinary turtle and that it must have escaped from somewhere. And he said something about it being on US 41 on the way into town, and Lieutenant Roberts grabbed it and said, "We'll take care of it," and put it in a box. And before you know it, the guy was gone. And I'm like, where's the jurisdictional line? Why are we taking the turtle? And Lieutenant Roberts and I go back to the academy 28 years, and we've had a few disagreements throughout the years. And I'm like, I'm sure this isn't somebody's pet that just wandered off. And I said, it's probably just a turtle that we've never seen. And he said that he was a turtle expert. And then I think we almost called his mom to prove if he was a turtle expert or not. And he called a biologist, Mary Markham and Casey Huckins from Michigan Tech. And they came in and said that it was an African spurred tortoise that was approximately 4 years old. Its name was Pablo, but then they identified that it was a girl, so they said it's Pabla. And they found out that it had escaped from somebody's backyard somewhere out on US 41 and had wandered out in the middle of the road and was returned to the owner. So we've had a lot of stray dogs, stray cats. I think we had a sheep one time. Chickens, yes. But the first time we've ever had a stray tortoise.
Stray tortoise.
And it was returned.
When we see.
And I was wrong and Lieutenant Roberts.
Did you apologize?
Huh?
Did you apologize?
Hope not.
Isn't this no apology? I was wrong. And the tortoise got. And we didn't even have to tell his mom.
At least we know Lieutenant Roberts is a tortoise.
He is well, if he was a turtle expert, he would have known it was a tortoise.
That's right, if you didn't know the sex, I mean.
All right.
Great.
That's the reason why I see it.
He only did one semester, that was
Anything else for John? All right, thank you. At this time then, I would entertain a motion regarding our consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Is there discussion? Will you poll the council?
McGowan?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Irizarry?
Yes.
Backen?
Yes.
Edom?
Yes.
Suits? Yes. Sailor?
Yes.
All right. Unfinished business, we do not have anything this evening, so we'll move to new business. Proposed ordinance 2021-321.
Okay, we just had a public hearing on this, and pursuant to Chapter 98, Article 7, Division 6 of our Code of Ordinance, the City of Houghton, Michigan, and Public Act 110 of 2006, as amended, the following described property is to be rezoned from B2 with conditions to reserve. Now, again, this is the two parcels identified on that map. We had a public hearing on this. And I guess this would be the time to, decide if this is something the council wants to move forward with. This was forwarded from the Planning Commission to the council for consideration. Ms. Halley did not want to read through those 17 factors, but for the sake of that, I am going to read through those 17 factors that this council should consider in deciding whether or not there's a motion and a vote for this ordinance. Number 1, is the proposed amendment generally compatible with the existing use of the property surrounding the site? Number 2, will the proposed amendment result in traffic congestion on the adjacent streets or create a safety problem? Number 3, will the proposed amendment have a significant adverse effect on property values in the adjacent area? Number 4, will the proposed amendment significantly increase noise in the area? Number 5, will the proposed amendment satisfy a need in the community? Number 6, is the proposed amendment compatible with the master plan for that area? Number 7, does the amendment comply with the intent of the zoning district? Number 8, is the proposed location an appropriate location for all uses which would be permitted under the proposed district? Number 9, are the physical characteristics of the site appropriate for the proposed amendment? 10, are there public services available to meet the demands of the proposed amendment? Number 11, will the proposed amendment increase the taxable value of the property? Number 12, will the rezoning constitute a spot zone granting a special privilege to one landowner not available to others? Number 13, are adequate sites available elsewhere that are already properly zoned to accommodate the proposed uses? Number 14, has there been a change of conditions in the area supporting the proposed amendment? Number 15, is the proposed amendment precedent setting? Number 16, will the proposed amendment conserve natural resources such as aesthetics and historic old growth trees? And number 17, are there any other factors considered pertinent to the proposed amendment? And I read those as considerations for the councilors and any deliberations you're doing in your head right now. Those are not a checklist, they're not a score sheet. Those are considerations in any motions and or voting which may occur from this point on out.
Move to approve as presented.
Support.
Okay, we moved and supported to approve the proposed ordinance 2021-321. Is there further discussion? Go right ahead, Brian.
Yes, for me, people were asking me about this issue because of the traffic, and reading through this proposal, it looks like that the growth is going to possibly result in some more traffic, but that I think the city can also grow to accommodate that traffic, because I think that this economic growth is positive. It is a good use of the land. I think it's a clever use of our resources that we have here that are unique to us. And so that, I just wanted to mention that concern was brought up to me, and I believe that that concern can be resolved as we grow, because we can't do everything at once. We can do one part now and then accommodate the issues that arise at a later date. And I'm sure that the city of Houghton will do that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Will you poll council?
Needham,
Yes.
McGowan,
Yes.
Irizarry,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Bracken,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Salem.
Yes.
All right, that passes. All right, next, resolution 2021-1808.
And what seems to be as per tradition, every couple of weeks, we have pay applications. This would be the phase 2 sewer system improvements. We have Danielson Contracting Payment Application number 7 for $20,995.48. And UP Engineers invoices in the amount of $5,277.26 for a total of $26,272.74, which, if approved, we would order those funds from rural development to pay the bills.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, move supported to approve resolution 2021-1808. Further discussion? Will you poll the council?
McGowan?
Yes.
Needham?
Yes.
Salem?
Yes.
Suits?
Yes.
Bracken?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Irizarry?
Yes.
All right, that passes. Next, resolution 2021-1809.
And this would be for the water system improvements portion of the Phase 2 project. We have Danielson Contracting Pay Application Number 9 in the amount of $154,538.83. And UP Engineers and Architects outstanding invoice at $9,799.30 for a total of $164,338.13, which, if approved, we would order up from rural development to pay those invoices.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and supported to approve resolution 2021-1809. Further discussion. Will you poll the council?
McGowan?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Irizarry?
Yes.
Bracken?
Yes.
Needham?
Yes.
Suits? Yes. Salem?
Yes.
All right, that passes. Next, resolution 2021-1810.
Okay, this is for Phase 3 for the sewer system improvements. This would be for the College Avenue project. We have some reimbursement back to the city of Houghton for the amount of $5,272.88. We've got a small invoice from MDOT as they are billing us for the water and sewer components that were put in, the amount of $8,966. And UP Engineers and Architects invoices of those dates listed on the resolution for $22,571.46 for a total of $36,810.34, which we would order from rural development to pay these invoices under the Phase 3 bonds.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported to approve resolution 2021-1810. Is there further discussion? Will you poll the council?
McGowan?
Yes.
Yes.
Salem?
Yes.
Needham?
Yes.
Bracken?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Irizarry?
Yes.
All right. Next, resolution 2021-1811.
And this is for the water system portion of the Phase 3 project. We've got a reimbursement back to the city of Houghton for $5,272.88. And UP Engineers invoices of those 3 dates for $18,058.05 for a total of $23,330.93, lots of threes in there, sorry, which if approved, we would order those funds from rural development.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Or.
Moved and supported to approve resolution 2021-1811. Further discussion. Will you poll the council?
Salem?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Irizarry?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Bracken?
Yes.
Needham?
Yes.
Suits?
Yes.
All right. Huron Creek repair change order number 3.
Okay, there was some, this is in regard to the Huron Creek leachate repair, which was being done under a FEMA project. And basically, they're finishing the job up. They got the balancing change order. They had to repair some more pipe. It was a lot deeper. The hole was a lot wider. We've got to change order some additional restoration in there, seed mulch and silk fence, etc., for where they're working. And one thing, I apologize, there's actually 2 parts to this. There was a pay estimate which came in for this, which Ann has in her pile there, which normally in the course of business for the FEMA stuff, we were just signing off on the pay estimates. But there's a pay estimate here in the amount of $57,000, which covers previous work, $57,000 even for previous work, and asking for the approval of this change order, but on the condition that it's also approved by FEMA, because this is for additional materials. We certainly understand, looking at the conditions up there, when you dig a deeper hole, the top gets wider. They had to dig a deeper hole, the top was wider than planned, so they had additional restoration they had to do up there to restore that stream bank. So we want to, that's why there's change orders out there for unforeseen conditions. So I guess requesting council's approval to sign that change order contingent on FEMA approving it as well.
Move to approve. Is there support?
Support.
Okay, move supported to approve the request in the Huron Creek repair change order in connection with FEMA, of course. Is there further discussion? Will you poll the council?
Suits.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Irizarry.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Bracken.
Yes.
Needham.
Yes.
Salem.
Yes.
All right, that passes. Next, recertify PA 425-4 from 1997.
So I like the way Ann started this memo, crazy story.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to, pretty much goes back to before we had electronic files and scans of everything. The Office of the Great Seal, State of Michigan, is going through a mapping process. I know Ann's been working with this gentleman down in Lansing, as have been I, on municipal borders and different things like that, because they're trying to get this unified mapping done throughout the state. Well, as part of that process, they go through all of this paperwork, and a lot of it is literally paperwork, because some of it's very, very old. Not older than 1997 in a lot of cases, but in this case, nobody had a good copy of the PA 425 between the city and Portage Township from 1997, and which we had a copy. We had the only copy that anybody can find, and it is a thermal fax copy of the thermal fax now, think about it, copy of the PA 425 between the city of Houghton and Portage Township, where this would be the property up by where Sears was off of Sharon Avenue. I mean, it's been on all of our maps. It's in our PA 425 book, but the state can't find a copy, the county can't find a copy. So what we would like to do between the city and the township, the same request is being made of Portage Township, is to recertify this, because as Ann explained, none of the same people are there anymore. In fact, some of them have passed on, who signed that original one. So we would like to just get this recodified. Portage Township will do the same. We can register it and send it all on to the state electronically, which hopefully those electrons will live on forever somewhere.
So this isn't actually a new.
This isn't
issue,
anything
We're just
new.
trying to make it more permanent.
It's just a carryover.
Yeah,
And this is,
that's been on our maps since the late 90s. Yeah, and the whole thing was, yeah, we had the paperwork, but nobody else can find theirs.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, move supported to recertify PA 425-4, dated May 15th, 1997. Further discussion. We poll the council.
McGowan.
Yes.
Salem.
Yes.
Suits.
Yes.
Needham.
Yes.
Bracken.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Irizarry.
yes.
All right, that passes. Next, city center.
And I just wanted to give you an update. I don't have a draft RFP. I've been kind of working on a list here, but I wanted to put this out to the councilors. Looking at this, I talked about this previously, there's a lot of interest in this building. People would like to possibly purchase it. So, again, to kind of go through some things I said at the last meeting, issue a short request for proposal to prospective buyers. Would request the following: a development plan and/or proposed use of the building to be evaluated by the city council, determining the benefits of the sale to the downtown and the overall community. Proposed leaseback terms, at least for a period of time for continued occupancy by the city. And then essentially in a separate envelope would be the price offered, which we could make all those other considerations. But thinking of the conditions of the sale, I've been kind of building a list here, and I wanted to get some more brains in on this. So, of course, we're gonna have a new appraisal, because our charter says we cannot sell a piece of property for less than it is appraised. So we want a new appraisal, so we have a current number on it. Of course, we want to do the sale compliant with the charter. One of the things that I was thinking is that the building exterior shall not be materially altered in any way that would be considered a detraction from its presence as a historic downtown building and an important part of the overall downtown landscape. Sales limited to the footprint of this building only. because that's pretty much the piece of property it resides on, the rest of it's city parking. No parking is included. And I guess this isn't a pop quiz type of thing. If anybody has any other considerations that we may want to put in there, just please email them to me. Because this would be the basics for that. If there's other considerations that we might want to make as a condition of sale, we put those on a list, maybe discuss them in here at the next meeting, and then put some sort of a final document together and possibly put it out on the street with your approval. Okay. So it's just a report on that and a request.
Anybody? Okay. Next then, future agenda items.
Okay, I have two.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Houghton Fire Department would like to use the chutes and ladders for a tournament. For the day we have the Copper Countries. No, nothing to peace. So we want to use all of the chutes and ladders for that, which needs council approval. And we also should talk about sometime about having make it easier for our city manager when the things come up, because right now it's not really set in stone how we decide when we want somebody to use all the chutes and ladders. And there's one for the pavilion, and there's nothing for when we use the whole area.
Yeah, we have used it in the past. I remember when we had the CrossFit had an event down there.
Right.
We used it, and I think, did we use it for
We use it for
Copper Country?
We use it for Brew Fest.
Was it for Brew Fest?
The last time we did the Copper Countries down there, we just used the parking lot.
Somehow I remember Buck pouring soap down a
That was
slide.
That was for the CrossFit.
That was for
That
me.
was for you, yeah. Right.
wanted more-
And together about what we want to do for that.
Yeah, the work, and I was talking to Councilor McGowan about this, the work that we had done up there this year, because we had some ice damage to a couple of those finger piers for the slips. That work cost us under $10,000, and we essentially replaced everything from the water line up.
Mm-hmm.
And, with that, one thought, because it was funny, he mentions this to me, and here's what I'm thinking. So I'd like to say great minds think alike, but is to at least start replacements on, at 10,000 a year, 20,000 a year, looking at the work we could get done with the talent that we have.
Yes.
We can get a lot of work done pretty much for, the materials and the labor, and they got it done relatively quickly. So, that dock's been a concern of mine for a long time. I have a file in it there with all kinds of red on it of things that need to be fixed. We've ticked a lot of those things off of the list, but this year proved that we can go in there ourselves and get meaningful work done for not a lot of money. And it's just going to need more. We've replaced boards, we've fixed this and that, but we should maybe look at, we're going to replace from here to here, just get it done.
Yeah, it looks a lot, I appreciate when you put the wooden board instead of the Trex boards.
So there was a lot, that wasn't me.
I know,
That was a long
part of that.
story
It's a
there.
long story, I know, like, part of it, so, but, no. I think we should think about that, and come next year, we're gonna
We can talk about.
work on it, okay? That's it, thank you.
Sure.
So I have a couple of, those are great suggestions, Bubba, and two thoughts. Hopefully, at the same time we're thinking about using our own resources to work on the docks down there, we're keeping our eyes and ears open on any funding opportunities for larger things.
Yes,
Because
yes.
being on the waterway, I know there's a lot of possibilities out there that maybe could help us do more than just what we're able to do, which is great anyway.
Yeah, you get to the issues, funding generally involves new. Maintenance, I've gotten into this talking about the parking deck before, there's not a lot of funding out there to make up for deferred maintenance, unless you're gonna tear something down and build something new and different.
So last time I was standing down there, and I thought about that caveat that always comes up. Maybe what we could think about is on one end or the other, and maybe this closer end, maybe there's a spot where we can draw a line in the sand and say, maybe something new could go here, and it could made up with what's there, and then another new replacement. Or who knows, maybe we're gonna see something someday that'll make us say, you know what, in a few years, maybe we're gonna wholesale replace. I know I wanted to say it publicly, because I know you keep your eyes and ears peeled, and so does Ann, for these possibilities. And I get it that they don't wanna pay us for maintenance, but maybe we'll see some new stuff that we can put in. And then for the park, just as a user, when is that, the tournament?
It's the weekend after Bridge Fest, the 22nd of June.
Next year?
Next year.
Okay, so it'll be easy to throw up some signs a week ahead of time, just letting everybody
Right.
know, hey, next weekend.
We might use the pier also, but
Yeah.
because we don't know when the pier will be ready, they're just throwing it all out there.
Sure.
Right, we will be having the copper countries, and Rick Donnelly will tell you, the copper countries aren't bad, the UPs are unique.
It'll just be good to give all the users a heads up.
Right, yes,
In case one weekend, they're all saying, let's come back next weekend. Ooh, it'll be full of firemen and women, maybe.
Well, it's a lot more family oriented, believe me.
Oh, sure, but
Twin Lakes did a great job, there was lots and lots of families out there, and doing it on the grass was also really nice. They did that also in Chassel, they did it on the grass and stuff like that. And try to make it a lot more family oriented event than a bunch of firemen.
Sure. And then while I'm yapping, every Wednesday-ish, can we push on the Facebook page an update about who's playing Thursday night that week? Just so it's fresh in everybody's mind, because I had to go digging to find, you mentioned it, but I had to go digging back to an older post. So if we could just repost and refresh, because it's pretty awesome, the more people we get out on Thursday nights, the better.
And I just wanted to say thank you to the musicians that are playing on our streets for sharing their time and their talent, and the businesses that are hosting them. They have been just phenomenal, so.
Yeah. It was a lot more fun shopping in Swifts with music coming in the front door.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think about the fact I was there to spend money.
It's nice to see a story when you, on Sheldon Avenue, on TV, people dancing right on the main street.
Yep.
Just a happy community.
Out of traffic, please. Stay out of traffic, no dancing on the streets.
No. All right. Other items? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Happy anniversary.
Hey,